Hey singers, City MDs are all over New York, but we don't need some doctor telling us to say ah, because today we're gonna figure out how to sing ah. Hey singers, I'm Justin Stoney, the founder of New York Vocal Coaching, here for episode 130 of Voice Lessons to the World. Today we're back to exploring vowels. We've done a bunch in the past, so go back and check those out. But this time, we're looking at the ah vowel. We'll talk about the very nature of this vowel, its advantages, and the areas where you may be struggling. Along the way, I'll give you exercises designed to make your ah vowel better than ever. But first, let's make sure we understand what makes an ah an ah. In day-to-day life, we don't usually think too hard about vowels. I mean, in some ways, it's just air passing out of your mouth.
Anyone who can shout vowels at an open window can learn to deliver a speech.
But in singing, vowels have a major impact. Some vowels help us to be stronger or more flexible. Others help us to be brighter or darker. So it's crucial that we know what we're dealing with. Here's a little stat sheet for the ah vowel. The ah vowel is the most open vowel. It's also the strongest vowel in the sense that its formant 1, F1, is the highest. To create the vowel, the root of the tongue will lower, and the jaw usually lowers as well. Now let's run some tests on these stats to make sure that we really understand and feel the ah vowel. First, let's compare closed vowels to open vowels. Now we said that ah is the most open vowel and has the highest F1. What's the opposite of that? Oo. It's our most closed vowel and has the lowest F1. What's F1? Well, go back and watch our episode on formants for a full tour. But for simplicity, because ah is open, it promotes vocal strength, and oo, being closed, promotes vocal flexibility. Let's demonstrate this principle the fun way. Start by putting your lips, jaw, and tongue in an oo vowel position. Then try talking through that oo vowel. Ooh, I'm speaking with a closed vowel. Ooh, I'm speaking with a closed vowel. Now, contrast that by talking through the ah vowel, like with everything open. Ah, I'm speaking with an open vowel. Ah, I'm speaking with an open vowel. Hours and hours of fun. I'm sure that you instantly noticed that this is a super easy way to prove the strength of the ah vowel. The oo shape helps contain the resonance inside the head, whereas the ah shape brings the sound more out of the mouth. Remember this because it's going to be important later on. But let's try one other test. In our next test, we'll more deeply understand the ah vowel by recruiting the e vowel. Go ahead and try alternating between e and ah. E-ah, e-ah, e-ah. Notice how the root of the tongue must drop down somewhat to create the ah vowel. Try it slow. E-ah. That slight lowering of the back of the tongue is the very nature of the ah vowel. Notice we don't actually have to open the mouth up widely to create the ah vowel. Ah. But still, releasing the jaw is a key aspect. If your jaw is too closed, it can be pretty tough to do. Ah. Now, closed vowels are easy like that. Ooh, e. Give that a try. Ooh, e. But the ah vowel, ah, that's pretty tough. So, of course, we ah. All right, so now that we understand the very nature of ah, the tongue drops down in the back and the jaw drops in the front. Next, we'll talk about the ways ah can help us. The ah vowel is a real slugger in 3 main ways. It's the best vowel for building pure chest voice. It's best for relieving jaw tension, and it's the best for creating space with the tongue. Let's break these down to see how the ah vowel might be able to help you. First, with your chest voice. If you feel like your voice is weak, you can't project, you can't belt, well, then the ah vowel is just what the doctor ordered.
Say ah.
Since ah is our strongest vowel, we can use it to overcome weakness, both in terms of vocal register and resonance. This is especially true in the low and middle parts of our range. If this sounds like you feel like you're lacking thickness and presence in the low and middle parts of your voice, then you can try this gog exercise. It sounds like this. Gog, gog, gog. Let's try a few. That's gog, gog, gog. Good. Nice and tough. Yes. Gog, gog, gog. Good for you. Yeah, stay strong. Gog, gog, gog. Right. Stay tough. Stay buff. Right. Gog, gog, gog. Great work. Now, let's see what the ah vowel can do for your jaw. Jaw tension is something that just about all of us experience at some point. Generally, this happens when the jaw is having difficulty releasing down and back. That's down and back. And which vowel helps us with that? Aha! 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 Of course, the ah vowel. To work on this, we're going to find that beautiful released down and back position. And then we're going to use our buddy H to move across the voice. It sounds like this. Ha, 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 ha. Let's give it a try. That's ha, 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 ha. Yes, let the jaw fall. Ha, 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 ha. Yeah. Enjoying H? That's it. Ha, 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 ha. Nice and released. Ha, 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 ha. Excellent. Well, that sure helps out the jaw, but what about the tongue? Now, generally we want a tall, forward, sprawling tongue when we sing, but it's possible to take this too far, and the tongue root ends up consistently too far forward in the mouth.
You know what? That makes me mad.
So our beautiful ah vowel becomes something like ah, and ah sounds something like ah. If this is you feel like your tongue is kind of always in your way, you know I've already got an exercise for you.
My goodness. Thank you, sir.
It's pretty simple, really. It sounds like this. Kia. And the trick here is that we start with the high tongue position of the E vowel, and then we allow the tongue to fall down boldly, Iya, and we celebrate the open feeling that this creates. Kia. Let's try. That's Kia. Great. Good. Kia. Nice. Kia. Good for you. Let the tongue fall. Kia. And last. Kia. Nice work with that. So now that we've explored the ah vowel and how it can help us, let's look at some common pitfalls. The ah vowel has 3 main pitfalls, and I'm pretty sure that we've all faced at least one of these. First, there's a high temptation to push the ah vowel. It's also an easy vowel to accidentally spread. And finally, it can sometimes cause an overly depressed tongue root. Pushing, spreading, depressing. Sounds just like the antics of our old pal Ah. But we'll get these things solved right away, starting with the pushing. What does it mean to push the voice? Simple, really. It's when we find ourselves getting too loud, too thick, too heavy, too strained, usually on higher notes. And when it comes to pushing, no vowel is more guilty than the ah vowel.
I'm guilty as charged.
But can we override this tendency and learn to not push? Absolutely. And one of the best ways is with a trill. Ra. That's with the lips. You can also do it with the tongue. Ra. Trills help to guarantee that we're using just the right amount of breath pressure for the task at hand. And then we just open up to that ah vowel. Let's try it. That's ra. Right. Ra. Good. Ra. Enjoy the trill? Uh-huh. Ra. Ra. Good stuff. Feels great. Now, let's look at the tendency to spread. Ah is maybe the spreadingest vowel of them all. What is spreading? Well, we do have an episode on that, but it's essentially when the lips start to open wider and wider, especially for higher notes. Now, this isn't always a bad thing, but it's definitely not good when our lips just kind of have a mind of their own. Unintentional spreading almost always results in raising the larynx, brightening the sound too much, and straining as well. So if you've noticed that your lips have been running wild when you sing, then it's time we visit our dear friend W. W is essentially the opposite of a spread. So we can exercise on it to train the voice out of spreading habits. It sounds like this. Wah, 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 wah. Let's go for it. It's wah, 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 wah. Good. That's the way to do it. Wah, 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 wah. Right. Enjoy the W. Wah, 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 wah. Last. Yeah, nice. Now that takes care of the lips. Now, why don't we tame thy tongue? One of the most common vocal habits, I'd say top 10, is the tongue root pressing down too far. Here's a good rule of tongue. You should just about always be able to see the back of the tongue when you sing. Ideally, a tall, forward, sprawling tongue. When this happens, it sets the stage for an easier time with laryngeal freedom, register blending, and balanced resonance. Do you want all that?
Absolutely, I do. Good, excellent.
Good, excellent. Then we just gotta follow that rule of tongue. And the best way is with the king, NG. Go back some time and learn why that's the world's greatest vocal exercise, but say it with me now. King, sing, NG is perfect here because it lifts the tongue root, but it provides the gifts and the fruits of nasal resonance as well. The flexible qualities of NG will so beautifully balance the strong qualities of ah. Our exercise sounds like this. Ngong, 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 ngong. Time to try. That's ngong, 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 ngong. Good. Right on. Moving the tongue. Good for you. Ngong, 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 ngong. That's right. Ngong, 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 ngong. And last one. Ngong, 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 ngong. Just excellent work. Stay tuned because in a minute I'll give you your vocal benediction. But first, a few aha moments for your vocal journey.
To get your copy of Justin Stoney's book, Sing Like Never Before, visit singlikeneverbefore.com. If you'd like a vocal course that you can do from home, check out the Voice Lessons to the World vocal course. Our 12-part program takes you on a journey from beginner to master-level vocal exercises. Find it at voicelessonstotheworld.com. For voice lessons with the NYVC staff, please visit newyorkvocalcoaching.com. If you're a voice teacher looking to master your craft, join our worldwide community at voiceteachertraining.com. Finally, if you'd like free vocal tips sent to you each day, sign up at dailyvocaltips.com. Now, here's Justin with your vocal benediction.
Now, you and I both know singing is never just singing. It's always more. It's connected to our inner journey. Today, we looked at the ah vowel, and what did we find? Ah is strong. It's open. But sometimes it needs a little refining. And what a lesson to learn. That we can be like the ah vowel. Strong, open, refined. So, can you sing with strong confidence? Yes, you can. Can you open yourself to new sounds and new ideas? Yes, you can. And can you stay inspired to refine your craft? Yes, you can. Yes, and amen. We'll see you soon for more voice lessons to the world.